Hello and welcome. This is Julie, Slower Stitches, here on FlossTube and on Instagram. I have my hair doing some fun things, so here we go. Welcome. This is my YouTube channel about cross stitch, and it is Sunday, March 29th, 2026, and if you're new here, welcome. If you're joining me again, welcome. If you've been here for almost 8 years, welcome. Okay, so 7.5. So let's start out with, I worked on 6 different projects this week, varying ranges between 19 stitches and 716. So let's get started. Get comfy. Okay, so it's a beautiful sunny day out, even though I think it might be on the cooler side because spring just doesn't want to start. It snowed again last night, but apparently it's going to be snowing again within the next week, but hopefully it'll just change to rain. First one comes up from this magazine. This is The World of Cross Stitching, issue number 295 from July 2020. I am doing this for one of my friends. Oh, jeebers. And it is called Positivity Hanging. So, anyway, whoopsie. Skitters is still sitting beside me, so that is that. I tried to put, at the beginning of the week at least, I tried to put 1 to 2 threads in per stitching session, and so I ended up finishing, starting I think and finishing the flower part, and then all of the stitches on the V so far. There are other colors in that stem of the V, but if you hear that, that's Simon. If you don't hear that, then I'm just hearing things. Okay, so the next things up were kind of focus projects for me this week to get them to the point where if I want to continue stitching them by the hundreds, they would be already rounded off. That is the best explanation that I have going. So, example, let's say for one of my projects, the ending is 98, so I'm only ever going to stitch to that 98 mark, because then I'll be able to carry on by the hundreds, and for the last rotation of the project, I will be able to put in that X amount of 100 stitches and call it a day. It won't have to be and 3 or and 98 or whatever. So let's start out with what I told you I was going to focus on last week, and that Skitters is sitting on everything. Sorry, buddy. You're just in... He magically has not swiped at me yet, but I think he's going to with the last project. Oh, man. Hold, please. Okay, so, dropped one project. That's why I had to go and bend down. But Skitters has now jumped away, so hooray. Not hooray, because I like him beside me, but he's a big guy. Okay, so the first thing that I worked on that I said I was going to work on was Freebie Autumn Fairies, and this is a old freebie by Karen Middleton of Heaven and Earth Design. I ended up putting 500 stitches into this. I was at 8,500 stitches. I am now at 9,000 stitches. There are 9,500 stitches remaining. So I put in 500 stitches. I went from 45.95 to 48.65. So as you might be able to tell, I put in a lot of the colors that were missing from the top, any of the ninja stitches. I filled in a lot of that purple because what I was doing was going from, you know, a thread of that purple to some ninja stitches, a thread of that purple to some ninja stitches. So yes, Slow and steady wins this race, but it's looking really good. The reason why I want to carry on with this one is I like it, but past that, it was the first Heaven and Earth design piece that I started, so I figured, why not, right? Why not? Why not just continue it and just say it's done? Okay, so next up, so yes, I put 500 stitches onto that to round it to the next 000, I think. Yes. The next thing that I put 500 stitches into was Mini Beginner Seashell by Kayomi Hirai. This is also a Heaven and Earth design piece. And it is now at... It was at 15,298 at 60.47%. I put in almost a full another 2% with 500 stitches. So that's 15,798, leaving me at 62.45%. So almost a full 2% were stitched. So this is the whole thing so far. I focused in on a two-row space. So anything really that could be in here that could be stitched down, I ended up stitching down. And then I finished this row, and then I worked on this row. That makes more sense. I've already filmed this once, or maybe even almost twice now, but finished this, that would make more sense for 500. So finished everything up here, and then I finished whatever was down here, but this is fully completed, this little arm as of right now. So yes, looking super cute. Super happy with that progress, because eventually 62.45 it will be completed. Both of those pieces both have 9,500 stitches left, so that's exciting. The next thing up that I'd like to share, because now we're going into the non-full coverage part of the under 10,000. So I'm going to go from lowest to biggest. Smallest to biggest. Lowest to highest. Oh boy. Okay, so this is White Mandala 3 by Magnolia Handcraft. It was on Etsy. I don't think it's there anymore. I put in a whole 19 stitches to get to my rounded number, and ta-da! So, very exciting. Finished off this little motif, started in on the next one for 19 whole stitches. But that 19 stitches, that was me being able to get to 4,500 stitches left. So the next rotation I do, it will be 4,000 stitches, because 500 stitch rotation on all of these ones as focus projects. Okay, so the next thing that was under 10,000 stitches that I put the middle amount of progress into was, you didn't see this last week because I forgot the project bag, but I ended up putting, between last week and this week, I put in 634, so I put in 134 stitches last week and 500 this week, I think. And so we went from 3,500 to 4,134, bringing me to 67.39%. So this is the whole thing so far. The only thing up here now that I have to write is never quit. And what I did work on, though, was down here. I think most of this was done the last time you saw it, but then I finished off closer, and I finished off everything except for 6 stitches up in Get Back on Track, because that's what brought me to the 500. Otherwise I would have done those 6 stitches and called it a day, because 6 stitches remaining on that line, 6 stitches remaining in that color. So it is what it is. Skitters is probably going to jump up here because that's okay. All of the projects that I've already talked about are now over here. So that's if he sits and decides to be part of the episode, it's fine. But he's going to wander away. So I tried to not do these FlossTube itchy nose, but anyways, okay. And so the amount of stitches that I got most on this week was, or within the last 2 weeks, was See You Later by Happiness on Etsy. I don't know if it's still there. It probably is because this is a relatively new purchase. So I went from 4,113 stitches to 4,829 stitches. I have to drop this down. I put in 716 stitches over the last 2 weeks. So this is the whole thing so far, and then I'll focus in on what I worked on. So what I did was, last time that I missed showing you, I finished the polar bear. So polar bear on the sled. And then what I did this week was hit the trail tiny, and then this is going to say snail, but the 500 stitches brought me to that 3 stitch mark right there. So I decided to stop there and move on. So that was all the actual stitching for this week. Now, my primary focus going forward is to try at least to do the rotation of 500 in each. If I don't get to the 500 in each, that's fine, because, you know, we'll still do the rotation. I'm going to put those on a wheel. And if I get to it, I get to it. If I don't, then there's always next week. When I'm not working on those pieces, I'm going to try for those pieces for sure over the week. And then if I have any time left, let's say, I will try and continue on with the rounding down numbers for 20 other projects. There are 17 that I need to continue rounding down on because 3 of them are already at the rounded off mark. So I am rounding these down to the closest 100 because going forward I will be stitching hundreds at a time, not 500. So the minimum is 100, the maximum is anywhere of a multiple of 100, so we'll see how that goes. So Breaking Free, Dragon in the Morning, and Sad Fairy are already at their rounded off number. Tiki Beach, Snow Leopard, Fairy Tale, Butterfly 2 all have under 30 stitches left, so that's great to round off to their closest 100. Fractal 53, Village Bookstore, and Antique Circle Sampler have under 50, so that's good. Sunflower Cottage, Pokemon Starters. This is going to be a bigger one. So Sunflower Cottage, Pokemon Starters, Vintage Christmas, Christmas Gnomes, and Steampunk Portal have under 65. And then Hazel's World Giraffe, Ornament Dragon, Forever Friends, Cookies and Cocoa, and The Wise and the Brave all have under 99. So, ta-da! I hope that is that's as easy as it's going to be explained, because I will show the projects. I don't have any of them right here, but I will make a wheel and spin that wheel as well to get the numbers down. So I will show some of those next week. Going forward, starting either next week or the week after, I plan on showing you what I got actually from Amazon, because it's not coming in this week, Lori. It has been delayed for some reason for the weather. We are still having a decent amount of snow in southern Ontario, so I guess it's hard to get trucks to drive from Toronto up to Ottawa. But past that, I did order something off of Amazon, so you will see that when it comes. And I was able to get 17 colors that were needed for my master list of colors. 16 of which I actually needed, and then the 17th one was just to spare. I don't know why. Anyway, and then James is trying to very slowly creep by, but it's absolutely fine. And sorry. It's okay. And then plans for this week. So that rotation, and we are eventually today going to one of my friends' houses to spend some time with them, and then go actually stay with them on Tuesday while their mom has to go do something. So that should be interesting and fun. And we haven't seen them since around Christmas, so it's been a long awaited time. And then come back, work on Thursday, and then all of next week is off. The following week, I have a long-awaited medical appointment, and then Tuesday, I feel something is happening. Can't remember. Oh, what is Tuesday? Tuesday is my 1-year anniversary for surgery. So that's what it is, April 7th. And then Wednesday, nothing, so that's a rest day. And then Thursday, Friday is treatment. So James and his rheumatologist had decided to go every 8 weeks instead of every 4 weeks. So this will be the first time in 8 weeks that he'll be able to get treatment. So if you have any questions, I am more than happy to answer any of those if you don't know what's going on. So that's it for me. Me and my rambling about life and stitching. Next week or the next week after that, I am going to start another segment in my video about my health journey over the last year. What it's been like, what it's not been like, what I've done, what I haven't done, both medically and just emotionally and physically. So to try and tell you all about surgical menopause, because that's fun. Anyway, and if you're, if you need to, then you'll have my shared experience, and if you don't want to, then that's absolutely fine. So within the next week or two, I will be starting the segment at the end. I just need to think about it a little bit more to try and figure out how I want to go forward with that segment of the video. Anyway, I will let you go there, and I hope everybody has a great week. Sparkle and shine. I will see everybody next Sunday. Bye, everybody.